It's based on the terrific ticket. We actually have three of them.
And do you
And
want to say what the ticket
yes, this
stands
is
for?
a
Ocean
white
pillars.
ticket.
Yeah.
And yes, so this is the ticket. And T stands for trustworthiness. I'm reading it backwards. R stands for respect.
The next
Green
one.
R is responsibility. The orange F is fairness. The red C is caring. And the purple C is citizenship. It it pairs very nicely with all of our grade levels, K to 5. They each take a
Pillar.
pillar. Thank you.
Mhm.
Nice. And they teach the school about the pillar and have an assembly. And so everything is based off this universal ticket. Then we have a silver ticket and a gold ticket. So we started with just the plain, universal ticket. We added a gold ticket, and the principals, our wonderful admin, they started a principals 200 board. And um, when children show all six pillars of character all together at once, they might receive a golden ticket. We also found that we wanted to recognize children that might maybe be in a specialized program, like they're in emotional support, and they're really trying their best to achieve the golden ticket. But they've got some individualized goals. We want to show growth too. So we designed the silver ticket last year, and everybody has access to all of these tickets. But we really want to recognize those kids that are trying their hardest, that maybe at getting to school 4 days a week instead of five, or just coming to school at all. They'll get a silver ticket. That's the ticket system. So thank you for that.
That is fantastic. Super job, guys. Great question also in the chat. What did you have as far as advice for maybe boosting teacher buy-in with check in, check out?
With check in, check out. I think that the teachers really like check in, check out, because they've tried their tier one. Nothing is working, so they're asking for help. So it's actually something that they're looking for and requesting. And it's systemized. We can graph the progress and make data informed decisions.
Daily
Um,
communication with the
yeah,
parent. I think
right.
that the teacher really likes having, because the way the chart works is it goes home every day for initials for the parents.
Mhm.
And I think that that helps the teacher feel like that's being communicated home. They don't feel like they're on an island if a child's struggling. So I think that's an important
Yeah.
piece of the plan too.
Yeah, we actually find that teachers want the check-in, check-out tier two program. It's been difficult this year because we've suggested that they consider trying something on their own first, at the tier one level. So we don't really have that problem, I don't think. They want the tier two check-in, check-out.
Excellent. So, kind of a related question from the chat. What about boosting staff buy-in with the tickets for those who maybe struggle with rewarding students for doing what they are supposedly already to be doing?
I can maybe help with that one,
Sure.
Mrs. Merlino. So the way a little bit more into the ticket system, the way that they work is, so when a student gets a terrific ticket, they put their name and their homeroom on it, and then they go and place it in each classroom has a classroom box. And so allows each classroom to focus on filling up their box and then having a classroom incentive. Then once their classroom box is full, and you might need to correct me if I mistake here, so then it goes into the family room box for the grade level. And then once that box is full, the entire class or the entire grade level has their own reward as well. Then at each assembly, do you want to take over this next part?
Sure. At the assemblies, we dump all family room boxes and any leftover classroom boxes into our large letters. We have large T, R, R, F, C, C, and our principals MC our assemblies once a month. And Mrs. Law, do you want to tell them what happens when we fill letters?
We have a theme every year, and the kids get really excited. We have over 600 children in the cafeteria gymnasium area there, and they start whispering, fill it up, and then they start to shout, fill it up, and then I have to be the bad guy and ask them to please whisper, fill it up. And when we do fill it up, we have a mystery motivator that Mrs. Merlino is holding. And Dr. Smith and I have to see how close they've made it to the tippy top. And I would say every other assembly, we've been filling a box, and I open up the Terrific Motivator. And we always love to do school-wide incentives. So we've done various things like pajama and, movie, not a movie, but like a little short video day, bring your stuffy day. We've done popsicles at lunch, something that we've had a bougie fancy lunch where the PTAs light battery lit candles and they dress up in white and the kids wear their fancy clothes. We've done buddy lunches. So we do a lot of great school-wide incentives. So that's why the tickets, that's why the buy-in is there, because number one, they get a classroom incentive. A lot of kids have a Play-Doh party or they go out for extra recess. So all children want to contribute to that. And then the fact that we do a school-wide one, everyone feels responsible to give those tickets.
That is so awesome. And people are definitely concurring in the chat. We love that you're going class-wide, grade-wide, school-wide, and, treating it like a family room. That's just, it's the connections, guys. Awesome.
Yeah, Kathryn, I
Yeah.
did see one question come up about how to get staff buy-in.
Yes, thank
And
you.
our SWEBS team does, each person takes a month and we purchase a few small gift cards for our staff. And from those tickets, we just did it yesterday at our faculty meeting, we'll pull out a ticket winner and we'll give those gift cards away to the teachers and the educational assistants, whoever's name gets chosen, because we know that the buy-in is, really important. So.
Absolutely. All right. So a couple more questions coming in, and then we'll jump back over to the questions for the panel. How do you respond to staff pushback of allowing students with behavior problems to attend perhaps grade level or school-wide assemblies?
I'll take that one if you don't mind, team. We feel that if a child is having a behavior problem, that we've handled it. Being the assistant principal, everyone out there, that that's the majority of our job. And so we feel that when you have 4 minors, you get a major in each quarter. So if they can't do something in September, then January, then February, and then get a write-up. Like we do a reboot every quarter, every 45 days, so to speak. And so I know actually of other schools that have done that. I don't feel children need to be punitive and not come to the assemblies that are pertinent to them having good behavior. When a child gets written up, they do their time during recess or lunch and have a reteach. It's over, we move on. They're not going to miss school-wide assemblies unless they've done something egregious that specific day.
Awesome.
And I think, Mrs. Law, too, one of the nice things we do too is for our students in our autistic support classrooms, we have our teacher as well as the educational assistants in that room bring the students down, typically in advance if we can get them down in advance, and just provide them with things so they can participate too. So maybe it's headphones, noise canceling headphones, some snacks, whatever it might be. So that way our special education students are also represented.
I do want to piggyback on what Mrs. Law said too. If someone has had discipline that day, she might ask the SEP liaison or myself. They'll have, seating with us, of course, and they'll be monitored because we're teaching about trustworthiness, respect, and responsibility. And we obviously want to keep in mind, we want that staff member to not think they're being rewarded for bad behavior. So we'll make sure we clarify with the staff member that they're being monitored and this is an important thing to learn.
Such great points. So an additional question, I know those terrific tickets. I remember all the letters and everything. Question about how you track them. Any thoughts, recommendations on tracking the tickets in a system where the students get to decide what they're going to cash them in on?
So we tried tracking these tickets one year and it was a nightmare because there's just so many of them. So you figure, there are hundreds of tickets, maybe 1,000 going in to fill up each letter. And what we did decide to track is perhaps maybe our educational assistants. We get into ruts and again, our behavioral specialist will speak to it, where we're more negative than positive. So we try to tell them all 4 to 1, right? 4 positives to your 1 negative. And to help keep you on track with passing out tickets, here's 10. Try to pass out 10 per lunch period. We pass out 1 golden ticket per quarter for each mailbox, for each teacher, to remind them to, hey, be on the lookout for someone who's showing all the pillars of character. It's hard to track all of the tickets. So the way we track it is by measuring the boxes. And, otherwise we'd be counting all day. And we did try it and we were exhausted.
And I was just going to talk about the classroom buy-in as well. So each classroom, they decide what they're working for. So when I was in a second grade classroom, we would vote. So the kids would give us 15 ideas. I'd write them on the board and then we'd vote. So we knew that the next time we were filling our box, we were having a stuffy day. So the kids in that classroom are very invested in them because they picked the reward that they're working for.
Kudos on Youth Voice. So one last question connected to this. I love that you're doing your tangible tickets. Have you ever considered a paperless or, the online ticket systems? And that's absolutely. I'm in and out of buildings, and some teams love to go the digital and other teams love to go the tickets. And I think whatever's branded and makes these little ones' hearts go thump, thump, that's what we chase after. Good stuff.
We did have virtual tickets during COVID.
Yes.
And, they would earn things. And if they did their assignments and crawled out from under their beds, and then the school counselor virtual fairies would show up at their door and give them a prize. But now, and I can speak to this. I'm a dinosaur. I prefer the ticket, the paper notes, all that, because Joanna, right? Virtual things send me into a tizzy.
That and it's just worked so well. We've had this in place for, so many years now that it's a cultural thing. I think it's a part of our building to have the physical tickets.
Right.
Super guys.
And I think the kids like that tangible ticket in their hands, because sometimes we'll catch some kids hoarding their tickets, not putting them in their classroom box. So
Right.
they like the tickets.
They're proud of it. Let's talk professional. Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, and just to kind of give an idea of going back on what Mrs. Merlino said, why they're so hard to track is because especially these white ones, we try to give out, there's so many given out per day. I can't even say, but for example, Dr. Smith would stand at the entrance, and if a student came up and independently said good morning, he would give them a ticket for, being polite and saying good morning. If they work really well in Miss Lori's intervention group, she'll make sure everyone leaves with a ticket, or after testing with me. It's actually nice because the kids are so motivated and like these tickets and get them for positivity. I hardly have to use like a prize box when I test kids. And I don't know if anyone else has, or any other school psychologists are on the line here, but I was across two elementary schools for a period of years, and we didn't have this system at the other one. And so I had a prize box there, whereas here the kids are motivated even at the 5th grade level to get the physical tickets.
Some kids will hoard them at home as well. They'll be like, I have 100 terrific tickets at home. I'm like, we're trying to fill the box. Bring those back in.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk professional development. Making this leap up to the advanced tiers is a big step. Can you help everyone understand what professional development strategies you use to help train your staff in tier 2 and tier 3 practices? And how did you make sure that they matched the function? So thinking about needs of behavior.
Okay. Well, I can speak to the professional development just as being coach. We are always presenting the programs, the tiers, the triangles to our staff. And Joanna and I are always talking about our screening process as well. So that starts right off the bat with our August before school in service. I also host for new staff additional trainings to learn more about the process and more about the program of SWEBs here and all the different levels of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 programming. Also, Joanna and I, we go back in, and our core team, we go back in periodically throughout the year to remind teachers about the screening process, about the different programs. At our faculty meetings, we're talking about mentoring, check and check out, reminding people they can volunteer to be mentors. We also have GCN trainings as a district that focus on trauma and behavior theory and the best ways to intervene with different,
A trauma-informed approach.
yes.
Yep.
We also do a quarterly newsletter through our SWEBS team with links to EdWeb, which I've found to be really helpful. You can get Act 48 for it as well, but you can type in function-based interventions or behavior theory, trauma-informed classroom strategies, and it'll list all the different professional development opportunities. So we send out the links in the virtual newsletter that is virtual. And I think that covers the professional development.
It does. You guys are definitely checking boxes. What about when you have a new staff come in, to sustain continuity? What's your induction to make sure they understand these steps?
Mhm.
Or if you have turnover?
Sure. Again, whenever a new staff member comes, we hold trainings. I host a training in the morning to review, all the different levels at Belle Valley, and we have binders that we used. We converted to a virtual binder during COVID. So that virtual binder is actually a link. I think you put the links up
It
there
is,
where
yeah.
all the audience can check out our virtual binder. That's mainly what we use now for making sure everybody's in the loop about SWEBs. We also do trainings for our bus drivers, for our educational assistants. Joanna is really big at that. She oversees all of our educational assistants, and because they're in the trenches, right? They're doing the majors and minors and the tickets and as well. So we want to make sure that they're up to speed on that.
Super. So there was a great question in the chat about when you're acknowledging the youth and you're passing out your pillar tickets, is the staff in the practice of saying which attribute they were being good doing?
Some do. I'd say some of our staff do. Like you were being very responsible, or so yes, we do try to connect it the best we can. Sometimes with the little, like the kindergartners, they don't know all the words just yet. They're still learning. But yeah, I mean, I think some of our staff do a really good job of that, and that's also the importance of that golden ticket, because we're saying that they show all pillars. That's how you get a golden ticket, is you did some sort of event or some sort of really amazing thing that showed all of the pillars, and we really make sure that that's described to the students.
Yes.
We
Excellent.
also do terrific at home, and parents can send in a piece of paper that marks what pillar their child exhibited at home. So if a child happened to have shoveled the neighbor's driveway, that was responsible. And then at lunchtime, I read those off to that grade level. There's always 2 grade levels in there, so it's close to 200 kids every grade level. Lunch period, and I will read those, and the children come up and we give them 2 claps, and then we have a house on our stage because you're terrific at home, and they earn a ticket for that and put it in the box, and we do a separate drawing. They can win a board game. We do K-2 and 3-5. We do 2 board games at our assemblies where we reward children for being terrific at home.
That's awesome. Lots of ways to just keep circling back. Kudos. So we know sometimes so much attention is going to the advanced tiers. How are you ensuring that we're not drifting from that tier 1 foundation and making sure that those things are still solid and in play?
So with our assemblies, we are always pushing the pillars of character and the tickets, and so it's fresh in our minds and universal language. We're all giving out the tickets and using the same words. So we're also doing the continuous trainings and trainings for new staff. So tier 1 is so important, and we get so excited when we come together. So it's always just a part of everyday life here.
Excellent, excellent. So with that, what else is going on as far as when you make your data-based decisions? I know that we talked at the beginning about triangulation. When you roll out some of these advanced tier interventions, do you have a fate plan? And what does that consist of?
Sure. So we do try to fade some of the interventions, both behavior and academic, differently. Academically, we do that through the progress monitoring data and our benchmarks. So you mentioned earlier that we use Acadians for that 3 times a year, as well as map testing or teacher referrals to assign those groups. So that's how we keep track of, any students that are showing great progress academically and might not need a title group anymore, or ones that need bumped up, say they're in tier 2 and then they would benefit from tier 3, or tier 3 to then possibly me for a special education evaluation. So that's kind of how we either fade or change service for academically. Behavior, we do try to wean all of the students off of their behavior plans. If the individual teacher is doing more of a tier 1 behavior plan, they kind of can introduce when it makes sense to keep it or fade it. When it comes to check in, check out, again, we talked about that Swiss program we use to progress monitor the data. So again, both ways, if they're making success, then we talk about fading it. We also increase their goal on check in, check out. So say they only need to get maybe 20% of their day showing the behaviors needed. Then after a couple weeks of success, we bump it up to 40 and bump it up, bump it up. And then once they max out, that's when we know that we were able to fade it. It might not be needed, or other way around. If they're not showing success, again, we can talk about other ways to modify the plan, provide a different plan, or possibly move forward with a reeval or with an evaluation that would include an FBA and those kinds of things.
Right.
I love that it has been so systematized. Super job, guys. Many a times within tier 3, we're looking at some of those individual student plans, and it sounds like you're continually doing your monitoring and your fidelity checks. Any advice on just making sure that everybody's on the same page when you have your agency partners or anything with that? I think that connects to just the monitoring for fidelity for tier 3.
Sure. I think what's really great is that Kevin and the IU team, coming out and doing those walkthroughs and just, holding us accountable, but also being there to answer any questions that we have. Our team over there at IU5 is great to work with. We've worked with them for a lot of years, and we are someday going to do TRRFC squared, and we're not going to get dinged on that. That's been contentious for how many years, Kevin? I think at least 9, 10, 12.
Since you were initially recognized, for sure.
Yeah.
9 years.
Yeah, I remember doing your set and having
my entire admin career.
That was pre-TFI.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, definitely the fact that we do the TFI, which sometimes it does look overwhelming, but, our advice is just to take it step by step. And Kevin's always right there to answer any emails for us. The school safety survey, we also incentivize that for staff. We tell them, hey, if you fill out this survey for us, we're going to do a drawing for a gift card. Even $5 gift cards go a long way for people. They just want to feel appreciated.
Your sunshine cart, Mrs. Latu, your sunshine cart. I think that's another really important for staff buy-in. That was a really good addition to us.
Yeah, Dr. Smith and I go around with what we call the sunshine cart. We've asked PTA members to donate, and it has all kinds of mostly nutritious items on it, beef jerky, granola bars, gum, chocolate, and we just go around randomly about every other month, and they get to choose a little something to brighten their day.
Little goodies.
Yeah, little goodies. We do make sure we share our results out. We do feel like people take a lot of surveys and then nobody knows what you do with them. So we do make sure that our staff knows. We also try to get a pulse on our staff by doing the stars and a wish. You have to Dr. Smith and I know better that if you ask for input, you're going to get it. You better be ready to do something with it. So we're very careful with that. So we ask for 2 stars and a wish, not a complaint, but a wish.
And actually, Sheri, that's where our silver ticket came out of, is there was a lot of, I guess, concern about the overuse of the golden ticket. So that's where that's where the silver ticket was born.
Absolutely, yes. The thing was too is we do have 2 emotional support classrooms, and we know that some children truly struggle with being terrific all day, every day. I mean, nobody's 100%. And so you'd have a teacher discipline a child or send them to the office yesterday for pulling a chair out on a child. And then today they got a golden ticket. And it just wasn't resonating well with some of our staff members. They really felt that there was there was a disconnect there. So we're like, okay, well, these children are still doing the right things, but maybe not all the time. So we still wanted to reward them with something. So that's how the silver ticket was born.
I love the backstory with all of that. Super job. Thinking a little bit about sustainment, what are your plans or how do you work through, with funding and changes that way when you have to, think about sustainment and how can we keep it going?
We do a lot of theme days. Theme days are cheap. You do a Hawaiian day, and guess what? Mom and dad have to find a hat or a Hawaiian shirt, right? So we do try to implement a lot of theme days without spending a lot of money. And also the intrinsic rewards, going outside for recess, going up on stage to play games with your class, having a Play-Doh day as a class. And our PTA is wonderful. They do give us a chunk of money, but we use that. Every year we pick a theme. And so we use that for like the decorations on our stage, the decorations for the homerooms. This year we're doing decades. And so every family room, every grade has a decade. So we have the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. So that's been a lot of fun. Our teachers have really embraced it. Let's see, what else do we do? You guys think of anything else?
Again, we really focus on that ticket, and the intrinsic reward from that as well has been huge. I think one day last year, one reward out of the 6, we did create a kids cart for the first time ever, because we've always learned, like, don't give things away, let it be intrinsic. And but boy, did they love it. Just like the teachers love getting their granola bar or their coffee K cup. They really did like it. But we try not to do that often because of budgeting. And I saw someone ask if we fundraise. At this point, we haven't fundraised. We're thankful, grateful to have a PTA and a community to help raise funds, so that our budget items we have $1,000 budget. So, but we did prior to COVID, we tried like some local funding, through like, restaurant nights, and we have a bounce house nearby where we would have a percentage of the funding go to us. I know our title team has done that as well, having Barnes and Noble nights and proceeds. So those are just a few ideas that we've used in the past. But right now we're grateful to the funding in the PTA.
I did
Super
want to just
creative.
jump into about the golden ticket and what a big deal it is, and that the buy-in is from the whole building. So when a student gets a golden ticket, they go to the office and they have a horn so everyone in the building can hear, and then you just hear the whole school cheering from wherever they're at because they know someone got that golden ticket.
I love it. It sounds
Can I
like
say one
America's
more
Got
thing?
Talent,
Can I say one more thing? I know it all sounds so positive and that everybody's for it. Every year, we remind ourselves many times that the naysayers are often the loudest. And so we get frustrated as a team too, because we still have the staff members that say those tickets don't work, and why aren't we doing this? And we don't want to do the assemblies. And we remind ourselves that it's 1 or 2, hopefully, just a few. But when it speaks the loudest, we do take it hard. But we all coach each other and remind ourselves that there's more positive than negative, and that not everything works for every kid. That's why we have tiers 1, 2, and 3. Many kids need more, and so do many staff members at times.
Super. There was an ask for just a clarifier. How do you get the gold or the silver ticket? What do the youth
Sure.
do for that?
Sure, I can hit that one. I also see the other question here I'll address. Are the 2 stars and a wish for students or staff? We do that with our staff. And we ask that during faculty meetings. We know teachers are very busy and we don't want to give them one more thing on their plate. So at the very beginning of a staff meeting, we'll say, please get with your team. So 3rd grade team, 4th grade team, that they can write down 2 stars and a wish. And Tracy's correct. Sometimes we get 1 or 2 folks that want to, poo-poo the assemblies, but we are in a school, and the biggest, best memories that we have of this building is doing those assemblies. So we're going to continue to do those. The question about the silver here, how does the child get a silver? So if you weren't here to hear it the first time, the problems we were running in is that children weren't terrific all the time, and they were misbehaving the day before, and the next day someone else in the building gave them a golden ticket, and a lot of teachers felt there was a discrepancy there, that it wasn't really fair. Kids that are always being terrific should be getting the gold tickets, not a child struggling. So we decided that all children are not terrific 100% of the time, all the time, but those children that struggle still need to receive those incentives for where they're at, meeting a child where they are. And so the silver came about as to children who we know they struggle, we know they're not, the best behaved all the time, but when they do something really great, we do like to reward them with the silver.
Right. And kind of the analogy for that is the PSSA language. So the golden ticket would be mastery and the silver ticket is growth.
Super. I wish we had 3 more hours with you all, but I know our time is ticking down. Any last coveted pieces of advice that you would give to a team that wants to go into the advanced tiers?
Can I interject just momentarily? I think the
Always.
one thing that my work in getting to work with these folks at Belle Valley is the process of refinement throughout the years in taking feedback, taking it and using it meaningfully to inform their practices. And I think in my last 10, 11 years experience in the work of PBIS, the teams that have done it well have done it with a continuous process of refinement and growth in that area. And I think Belle Valley has exemplified that over the years.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
I think one tip that helps with that and what Kevin's speaking to, you might want to consider, I think if you're for your coach, that they have the time and effort to give to the SWEPS program and to the tiers 1, 2, and 3, because I don't have a classroom. So I can, adjust my schedule to give it the time that it needs. I think that's really important. I know you might have a stellar teacher out there, but boy, teachers are so busy. Unless you're giving them a stipend or something like that, it does take some time to do all that Kevin's asking us to do. Just kidding.
And you all
To do all the great things.
Absolutely. I did put the end of the session code in the chat. I know that some of you have to transition to other meetings. We're sending a huge virtual thank you and congrats to Belle Valley. I hope I get to see you all soon, and just thank you all. I know they were kind enough to put their contact information in that Belle Valley resource. So let us know if other questions trickle in. And yes, there was a recording going on, so this will be blitzed out and folks can share far and wide. The